Well, hello again. Welcome back to the home build. So today we got a kind of fun one. Is we're going to be installing some cabinets in our laundry room. So this video is going to be about measuring, laying out, ordering for cabinets, and then the install ultimately of the cabinets. So during construction, when we built the house, this space we decided that there was going to be a utility sinks with base countertops, and also an upper countertop over in this section over here. So we made sure that all our plumbing was done ahead of time, so I don't have to get into any of the sheetrock or into the wall to run some plumbing and that sort of thing. So we already got our drain right down here, and our hot and cold, and then also we have outlets where we designated to have our outlets. They're going to be above our countertop, of course. So now also I wanted to mention a nice thank you to Charlie Gordman for this wonderful, awesome looking sawhorse right here. So this is kind of like a workbench, folds up, kind of really neat idea. But so thank you for that. So stepping in, come look at this. So if you go to a cabinet company, Home Depot, Lowe's, Jerry's, depending on where you're at, you can order all kinds of different cabinets and that sort of thing. They even sometimes will provide a little layout like this. So in this space, I have 9'5", so 113 inches going from wall to wall over here. 113 inches. Also checking the back, I got 100, real close to 113 inches. Okay, which I've done before, but just so you know, I was checking like that, tight into the corner. Out here in the corners to corner, that's where sheetrock tapers, so it generally is going to be the tightest area. Also right out here is an outside corner where the sheetrock tapers out, so it's kind of it'll be the shortest distance here and there, not necessarily right in here. Okay, some things to take into account. Lengthwise, so with that 113 inches, back down on here, I'm sketching it out. So step in so you can see right in here. So we got kind of like some graph paper, and you can see we got 113 inches will be from this edge to that edge. Standard cabinets. One thing that I've come to realize is our sink cabinet is not necessarily going to line up right directly in this space. So it's going to be a few inches off, 5 inches or so off. That's okay. Also with the cabinet. So now I'm going to decide, hey, what kind of cabinets do I want? We got 2 doors, a base cabinet, 3 drawers, 1 drawer, all those widths and that sort of thing. So the things that I decided that are going to work in this space is we're going to have the base, we're going to have a 30-inch base. So something that I like to do is just mark it out. So layout, installing cabinets ahead of time is going to pay dividends when you order, also when you're installing. So I'm just going to make a little mark right here at 30 inches. Okay, my base cabinet, what I've decided was going to be 36 inches. So I got 36 inches, got a little mark right there. Okay, my next cabinet is going to be 18 inches, and this 18 inches is going to be 3 drawers. 3 drawers, hands down, always much nicer than 4 drawers. 4 drawers are less user-friendly when you have that smaller space to be able to store stuff in. So 3 drawers. So I'm going to go 18 inches. And when you're buying off-the-shelf cabinets, not custom-made cabinets, 18 inches, the cabinet is 18 inches. Okay, whatever you order. Now, if you ordered a custom millwork company to come out, they'll make whatever you want to whatever size you want. So you're just paying that cost. Okay, so I got another mark right here, and then the next one's going to be 30 inches. Excuse me, not 30 inches, is going to be 24 inches. The single, so which is right here, is 24 inches. 30 inches won't quite work, which would have been nice. I'm like 1 inch short of it. So you got, if you're buying off the shelf cabinets, you're using what they have, okay? So in this case, 24 inches. So right here, 24. So if I did that, I would have about 5-inch filler on that side. So I don't want a 5-inch filler, it's just a huge, obtruse filler. What I want is a 2.5-inch filler and somewhere along the lines of 2.5-inch filter or filler here. What that means though is it shifts everything over 2.5 inches as well. Okay. So knowing that, now I know what to order as far as the base cabinets, like something like this, and the designs that I want as well. So this 30-inch cabinet here is going to have a drawer and cupboards. Okay, the sink is going to have just cupboards, no drawer, because it's got a sink. The 3 drawers will have 3 drawers, and then the single, the 24-inch cabinet will have 1 single door and a drawer, 1 drawer on top. Up here on the top, I am actually going to put it tight into the corner, or at least that's what I'm thinking right now. I could, if I wanted to add a 1-2-inch filler. I don't think I'm going to do 2.5-inch filler, shoving it over more into the window. So up here on top is going to be a 36-inch cabinet upper. Okay, upper cabinets are 12 inches deep. Okay, 30 inches tall. Okay, somewhere around this area right here. Okay. Also, the bottoms of the cabinets are about 4 foot 8 inches, plus or minus a little bit. Okay, depending on the thickness of your countertop and things like that. Okay, so 4 foot 8. I actually made a mark at 4 foot 8. And in my case, when I go to install, I'm going to install this upper cabinet first because it's just easier when the lower cabinets are not in the way. Sometimes it's the opposite. Big heavy cabinet, you put your countertop on, and you might have like a little pump jack to install that first. Okay. So in this house, in this case, I'm just seeing where 36 inches lines up right here. So if I had a cabinet sticking out this far, I don't want it further over by the window because it cuts out the light coming in. So I don't mind seeing this section of the sheetrock right here, 36 inches. Okay, now at this point, it's time to go get the cabinets, order them, and that sort of thing. So 1 upper, 4 lowers, different sizes. And also I am going to be putting 2 cabinets over on this side over here. Okay, they're going to be just the uppers above the washer and dryer. So. Alright, so the next step of what I got is I have base going around. I got the cabinets ordered, they're out in the garage, they're in boxes, so I'll get those ready. When I'm removing this base here, there's a couple techniques, and I'll show you. The base cabinets do have a toe kick, and the cabinets stick out further. The cabinets are about 24 inches. That is the frame, not the cabinet door. It's about 24, but the toe kick is about 20.5 inches. So I'm actually making a cut right here at 20.75 of an inch, because I'm going to remove all this, leaving this part of the baseboard. Under the cabinets, it's going to get an additional toe kick, which would be a solid toe kick going all across to make it look pretty. And that thickness of that material is about 1/4 inch. So that leaves me right about 20.75. So I took my oscillating tool, cut it there, cut it on that side, and then taking a utility knife, so there's caulking right here on top. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to cut that caulking, and then pry out the base. Okay. That way when I go to remove it, I'm not ripping off the sheetrock. Okay? Ready?
Yep.
So I scored the top, and I'm going to save some of this because there's other parts of the house that got damaged, and corners and that sort of thing. So save that. So we're going to start with the upper cabinet. So some things to think of when you're installing cabinet is I have a 36-inch cabinet here on the upper, but on the lower I have a 24-inch cabinet with an 18 on the next one. So if it matters to you aesthetic-wise, or in the kitchen especially, a lot of times you want cabinet doors to line up with cabinet doors. Cabinet door, cabinet door, cabinet door. So anything upper lines up with the cabinet doors on the lower. So in this particular case, laundry room, window, certain things, I'm okay with that cabinet door not being the same as the lower. Okay, 36 inches, 24 and an 18, so things don't quite line up to the eye straight like this. So the next thing that I'm going to do, since I'm okay with that, is I'm going to locate where the studs are. So as an example, a strong magnet, line up, okay, right there. That tells me there's a stud right here. So magnets, what it's actually sticking onto, if you can imagine, is the screw. The screw is holding the sheetrock into the wood stud behind. Okay. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my elevation. So in this case I had 4'8", which by the way also matches my cabinets on the kitchen. So if you're unsure, maybe go around, check things and match if that's what you like. So now I could lower it a couple inches too to make it more user friendly for the user. So in this case we're going to keep things the same. So I got a little mark right there, 4'8", and I'm actually going to put a little board up here to help hold my cabinet up there, so when I go to install it, it's holding it in place. So right there, then I'm going to take my level, which is right here. So by the way, I'm going to mark this first. So I got a stud there. Let me move this over kind of out of the way. Should be another stud here, right in there. My studs for this house is 16-inch on center, so if I pulled 16 inches over, there should be another stud right there. So if I came up and down, unless the sheetrockers didn't put it sounds like there's a stud there too. Okay, over here 16 inches, so there should be a stud there. And then also something directly into the corner as well. Okay. For the level, make sure you got a good level. So in this case, I'm going to put my mark right here. I'm going to check it. So if you're wondering how to check your level, I got a mark there. Flip it over like this. Check it. If it's not level, then your level's bad. So in this case, this level is also good in this case. So at least in the level portion, this is a good level. Okay. And I'm going to take a piece of wood, which there would be a little hole here, but this two lines are going to be the absolute bottom of my cabinet. Okay. So I'm going to take a piece of a board like this one, nice and straight, hold it up here, and I'm going to put a screw in right here and right here, so that I can put my hook my cabinet on top of it, and then I'll take this off afterwards. Okay. All right, so we got our little ledger, temporary ledger that's nice and level. Okay, making sure that is for my upper cabinets. I got my lower cabinet or my upper cabinet right here in place. So I got my studs marked out, which in this case for my ledger, they're right here, right there. So be selective of where you're going to put your screws on this. So I went ahead and I dry fit it to make sure I was happy with it, because I could, if I wanted to, shift the whole thing over an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, or that sort of thing. But I would have to have a filler piece right here on this end. I like it tight against it to have more space here, more view, more all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to measure here. I have 18 5/8 of an inch to this stud. Where you put your screws on your cabinet, be kind of selective, out of sight, out of mind type of thing. Also, what it kind of matters is how that cabinet's built. In this particular case, so I'm going to end up putting a screw all the way at the top of the cabinet, okay? And there are 3 of them, or excuse me, 2 of them. My cabinet doesn't go reach over to this other screw here. So I'm definitely going to put one in this stud, definitely going to put one in this stud. Okay, then now on the bottom I got 2 choices. I could have one down low on the bottom, or I can have it on the underside, because there is about an inch of the cabinet hanging out down at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to decide to put it down here on the bottom instead of up in the cabinet. Well, I changed my mind. I'm going to have it here so that when I close my cabinet doors, I don't see a screw down on the bottom side. So the main thing is, don't put it out here in the body of the cabinet. It's like right in your face. It's also in the way of shelving. When they're down low and way up high, it's where the glue joint is for the cabinet frame, so it's stronger when holding the cabinet on. Whenever possible, on the side like here, is seeing about putting a screw on the sides, because then it's the torque pulling down on it that helps you out as well. So I'm going to measure, so I'm going to pre-drill where some of those studs are so that I get a screw ready. When I hold it up there, it's just like drive the screw in. Okay, so in this case I had an 18-inch screw, or 18 5/8 from the frame to the inside. I have 5/8 of an inch. So what's left over is I have 18 inches measuring here to here. So I got 18 inches, okay? 16 inches for my stud. So I'm gonna have another screw right there. And I'm gonna do the same thing down here on the bottom. 18 inches, I'll come up about an inch. Okay, and then 16 inches, come up about an inch. Try to keep them somewhat level and that sort of thing. Then I'm going to take my drill, like right here. It's a countersink. I'm going to pre-drill a hole right here. Right like that. So those are pre-drilled, ready to go. Now the screws that I'm going to use, the screws that I have. So here's one of the screws. There's all kinds of other types. This one I have, it's the right length. So ideally is that I'm going at least 1 inch or more into the stud. So an inch to an inch and a half would be fine. You get more than that, you risk possibly running into electrical, plumbing, things like that. And less than an inch structurally, it can pull out. So that's a good number, and this will give me right at an inch. Okay, so I got the screws ready. I got my drill within arm's reach. In these cabinets, the doors I can adjust, twist them around, raise the lower to make things line up. So that'll be something I've do during pickup work right at the very end. Okay, install our first cabinet. Up it goes on my ledger, shoving it over into the corner. Then I got my screws in here. So come over on this side behind me, George. Whoa.
Okay.
So go ahead, come over here. I got one screw that's ready to go right there. As soon as I get one screw in it, then I can let go of this. So I'm left-handed. That'll be better. It's a good fit. One screw is holding it for right now. I'm just checking things, make sure everything looks good, like nothing's damaged, which it's not, which is good. So put in these other screws. Don't do anything else, making sure everything's level, which everything's perfectly level. Okay. Plumb. I want to see if everything's nice and plumb. Let's say I got another cabinet going up against it, which I don't. It's perfectly plumb, so that's good. So let's finish this. If some hardware is a quick hardware that pops off and that cabinet door comes off, that I would have took off if I had that type of hardware. But this I don't have, sadly, but that's okay. All right, now we're ready for the lower cabinets. So I want to do some pre-planning, pre-leveling, seeing where our floor is at. Some cabinet bases will have little legs that screw. In this case, I'm going to use shims. It doesn't have those legs, so I got 16th inch shims, 1/8 inch, and that sort of thing. So I can use a laser or use a level. So in my case, I'm just going to use a level. That's what I had handy. And I'm looking for gaps underneath it, and I'm also looking to see that it is level. And in fact, it is level, which is good. It should be because it's an exterior wall, but I'm also putting it over there. It's level, okay? And then I'm going to bring it out to about where the front, that's the back of the cabinet. So I'm going to bring it out to the front of the cabinet, and I see that it's not level according to this. So I'm going to raise it up. Let's see, it's going to be about something like that. Now that's level. And I notice that I have gaps under here. So what it also means, I'm going to check, is from front to back. And that right there is pretty level with it right there. So what this means is that the back is higher, which is fine. And also I'm going to see what it is going over to this area. If I put an 1/8 and 1/16, well, I can push down on it and see it is, in fact, that needs to come up. So put this under it, hold it down, and then from here to there is level. So right over here, this corner is my high point, right over here. So backside's good. Something else that I will check out here in this corner, seeing if we got any slope there, which that's level. So I'm okay to go ahead and install the cabinet, and I can just shove wedges or shims under the front side. The back side's level, it's good. Something else that I did is I need to mark where the studs are. So I want to mark just above the cabinet so I can see it, but the countertop covers it. So the top of the cabinet is 36 inches. So then the countertop is right in this zone right here. The countertop's 35 inches, or the cabinet is 35 inches. So I want to be able to see it, but it still covers up by the countertop. So I got a stud right here, using my magnet. Okay, there's a stud right there. You're going to have a stud right on each side of the window, so there is going to be one there. And then also, hey, here's another stud, which my mark, 16 inches, is a little bit off, or the screw is just a little bit off. So I'm going to put that right there. Something else during that pre-planning that we had, that cabinet's going to be 2.5 inches off of this face here. So then it leaves me about 2.5 inches filler on that other side, so that it's equal. All right, so I'm gonna put that back. Now, according to what I see here, and now I'm ready to go get my first cabinet, and we're gonna start right here. So I got my cabinet in here. I got 2.5 inches off the wall right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my shims back under, which in this case was 3/16. So there's one there. I got this one right here. And I'm going to put them so both cabinets actually will sit on the shim, not just the one. So I got them sticking out on this side. So some things I'm going to check. Just checking to see if we're level. Okay, nice and level. We're looking pretty level there. And then these are going to be held in by screws. So if I needed to at the end, pull the screws out because something wasn't quite level, well then that's what I would do. Front to back. Looking at my front to back, I got this little plastic clip, so I'm not wanting to be on that. So we're good. So this cabinet, what I could do, depending on I'm tight on the back, on the bottom, I can put a screw in right here. Okay, that hook kind of really locks it in place. Put a screw right here. I got to be careful that I'm not really sucking it over. Also that I might want to put a shim right here. So depending on the thickness of the shim. So something else, the face, I'm looking to see if I'm plumb up and down. So if I'm level, it should be plumb, but according to this, looks like the top could actually come out just a little bit, but I'm level. I care more about that than whatever that's doing for the countertop. And I see a little gap back here. Let's see if so I'm on the bottom, I'm in right against the wall, down on the bottom, against the wall. Okay, now I'm going to put a screw, one of those bigger screws, right here, through there. Okay, but I also want to put a shim so that this gap maintains that gap right there. So I'm going to put about an 1/8 inch shim right there. Right there. Okay, and then I can do the same thing right there, which that one might not be quite an 1/8. What I could do is turn it so it captures both. There we go. Now that won't go anywhere. Something else I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put my 6-foot level on here to see if things are straight. See what the wall's doing. The wall looks pretty straight. Here's got a little hump. So what I might end up doing later, those screws, I might take out, put a little more shim there, maybe a little less shim here, because I want the front of this face to be nice and straight when all those cabinets are in place. Okay, so now it's ready for the next cabinet. All right, so we did jump kind of a little bit ahead. I took the cabinet doors off the front because I need to make sure this is nice and tight, and I'm going to put a screw through this face into that face. I want to make sure it doesn't poke out the other side, so I'm going to put my drill bit in here and extend it out. So if I went all the way, it's going to go to right there. These are the screws I'm going to be using, okay, for here, and they're going to recess in to where they're about into there. So I'm going to, the head of the screw, I'm going to get another drill bit, which is this drill bit here, and I'm going to drill it in about halfway so when this will actually grab. Alternatively, I can get a bigger one of these, but this is what I have, so this is what I'm going to do. Also, nice and flush at the top, flush in the face, down here, making sure it's nice and flush right here. So what I ended up doing is, because cabinets aren't built perfectly, I actually had to add another shim underneath this cabinet, raising it up just a tad bit so that it's flush on the top. So starting right here and for your drill bits. Just in and out to kind of clean the wood shavings out. And if you got multiple drills, which I have one right here, I could have the other drill bit in the other one. That way I don't have to switch drills. So in this case, I want to go in about that far. Okay, so I can get a Sharpie and I can mark it right here. Okay, now this screw here, it's ready to drive this in. It's a little square drive, so trim head screw. Oh, great. Something I didn't take into account, that this is a little wider than that. Crud. So I got to get a bigger screw. Go ahead and turn that off. Okay, I got a bigger screw, longer screw, and bigger screw. So we're nice and tight there. Okay. The reason is this, my screw tip just wasn't long enough for going in that deep. I'm actually gonna take this back out. And I gotta use a countersink, which is this right here. The head of that screw is kind of sticking out. Yeah. So now I'm gonna put this in, nice and flush. Now we're flush here as well. Okay. So next one, I'm gonna go. I can do one here in the middle. I can do one at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move up to the top, making sure we're flush. This side, this is a, well, even if it was a cabinet drawer, it's hidden. So, there we go. This can go in, and I got to get a drill bit in there, nice and flush. Now it's ready for another screw. Alright. Now if I let go of this, it should pop, or should stay, which is good. And I can let go of this. Good there. And if I feel like I need one there, which I don't think I need one, that one's going to be good. Something else that I had to do on the back of this cabinet, I had to shim it up, which now brings it more into plumb, which is good too. And the reason being is this cabinet here was a little bit higher in the back, so that's part of it. So now if you look over here, George, right here, now we're also plumb. So that's a good thing as well. Something else that I was checking, so I put my straight edge, the 6 foot level, I'm putting right up here to see how we're doing as far as straight, and it's looking pretty good right there. And what I can do is I can move on to the next one, making sure everything's nice and straight against the back, and then put shims in it as I'm installing screws there, so that it stays straight right here. Okay? Alright. Nice job, man. Getting our next cabinet in, got our drawers. Alright. Okay, you pick up on that, I'm gonna help spin it. There we go. Over in place. Nice fire. Alright. Let's lock that one together. So I got the shims down there sticking out a little bit, which I think I'm going to have to make it stick out a little bit more to capture both of these. Okay, I'll point it right down there. See my shim down there. See, there's my shim sticking out. I'm going to make it stick out just a little bit more. I need my pry bar. So I'll come right back over here so you can see that shim right over here. Okay, so I'm going to raise this up just a tiny bit, scoot that over. Now, if they were built perfectly, this side's going to go on that one, like that. And then when I shim this side up, it should, let's see if it's this many shims or maybe it's just an eighth. We'll see, but it should be here. So I'm looking at this gap right here. So I need another shim in this little corner here. I'm gonna stick out a little bit. And then looking at my gap here, and if it's just a tiny bit, I can make that work. But now I'm going to look right up here. See how it's not quite flush right there? Right like this. So this one I'm going to raise up a tiny bit. And I might be able to just get it out of the screws. So clamping it together. Okay, tapping it down, tapping one up. And then I'm also looking at the back. So before I install this one, I want to see where this is. So I got to level across. And right now what it's acting is almost just like a straight edge only. So it's touching there, touching there, touching there. So I think the back side is looking pretty good. Here, I'm trying to feel it to see that the cabinet is solid, evenly spaced, which it is. So to me, it's ready to clamp.
Where's this gap?
Huh?
Where's this gap?
That's just how it's built. See, it's tight here, but gap there. And this joint right here. So look down on it. Look at the camera. Look down on it. So this joint right here is called a dado. A dado. So I'm gonna put this on. Too much. Right there. I'm gonna clamp it together. I'm gonna get one on the bottom as well. Okay. So I'm looking to see if I'm flush, and being gentle with tapping. I'm going to tap this, my finish hammer. There's an edge, the drawer that's going to cover a lot of this. So I'm tapping it just to make sure we're flush. Something else is I'm going to tap this side up. Making sure. So right now I'm going to put a little shim underneath that side. Alright, now we got all the faces at least have 2 screws in it. One here, one there, one there, one there. So each face frame has 2 screws in it. So it's all locked together. I'm going to check. I got 1 screw in the back. Nothing else has been screwed in yet. Okay. I want to check this, that I'm all kind of in alignment here. So you can see right here, see a little bit of a gap right there. So I can move this cabinet out just a little bit. So this gap and that gap actually look a lot better, which is good. Hold this on here so it's nice and straight. Okay. Also, I'm towards the back, so there's going to be one point, which is somewhere right in here, that it's against the wall. The rest of it's not. What I really care about is that this front here for a countertop is nice and straight. that back side, it'll get scribed to whatever the wall's doing. So currently, right where it's at, we're good. Marks where all the studs are, okay? So I'm just gonna go through pre-drill first. This one here's already got screws there, so this one's locked in, which helps lock everything in. And now we're ready for some shims and some screws. Okay. No, leave it on. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this one. It's a little less of a gap here. Okay, so I'm gonna start here, just checking my gap, which that one looks pretty good. So I'm gonna put a screw in it there. There. That one's locked in. Before I really cinch it up, because these I can drop down on it. And gets one more 16th. Down there. This is locked together, and it should be good. There's no stud over there for me to be able to screw that in. That's there. I got 2 more to put right here, and then other than doing a filler, I got a 2.5 inch filler that I need to put here, and a 2.5 inch filler that I need to cut with my table saw and install that. Same thing. I got 1 screw here, 1 screw there. Well, I guess on that one I'm gonna have 3 screws into this filler, and then that holds this filler in place. Well, that's a wrap for installing cabinets. As a kind of recap on some of the important things are making sure you're level that direction. So shims underneath. It will eventually, you're gonna get another board going across the face there, tacked in place. So these shims that are kind of sticking out, either gonna get tucked in a little further or they get trimmed off with that oscillating tool. Also in the back, so wherever there's a stud, gets fastened in each spot. So nothing over here, which that's fine. It's still a nice solid with it being screwed together in the face. So 2 screws in each face, and then I'll have 3 screws where the filler is. If I choose to, I could probably even do 1 screw. So that's a wrap. Also upper cabinet. So looks good, nice and functional. So, and then there's our screws up here. I went ahead and put one on that end just for good insurance. The next, what's left is shelves. So some shelves to put in there with some clips in the holes. So depending on where we choose to put those at. So shelves are right here. And also the bottom cabinets, they come with another shelf, 1 shelf each as well. So like always, be safe out there. Wear all your protective gear, your safety glasses like I was wearing, earplugs when you're drilling, impacting, and everything like that, loud noises, and all that sort of thing. So take care of yourself so you can be doing this as long as you live. So hopefully you enjoyed, and like always, I'll see you next time on the home build.